Okay, so we've caught up with Jacob here to learn a little bit more about Edge of Space, a very intriguing game that I think will appeal to, well, fans of perhaps Terraria and that sort of game. What sort of inspired you to come up with this concept?
So we were definitely inspired by Terraria, but it was pretty much, we've always loved sandbox games. So we wanted to create something where we could start creating that like open-ended experience where you could have a scalular complexity component. So meaning you could come in easy, and the more that you can dig into it, there's more for you right there. But if you want to stay on the top line, you could do that as well. But we wanted to add more depth to a lot of the mechanics that Terraria started.
So what's the setting here? Edge of Space. We got this crazy space sharks and polar laser shark. Sorry. What's the setting? What's the idea here?
So the idea is that effectively you crash landed. Your arc drop, the Artco, which is the company that you were with, was a terraforming ship that set out, and there's some horrible things that happened, and then they ended up in the wrong part of the universe. So effectively, it started you don't know how long you've been there. You don't even know how long like phase 1 terraforming's been going on. But then you get woken up and get told it's time for you to start your part in the terraforming process. And that's how you get on this planet. You're like, I don't know what I need to be doing, or what are these crazy creatures, and how long that they've been there. But that's pretty much the setting. And from there, it's more about the player defining their experience. We will set the tone of like how you got there and why you're there, but after that it's about the player, because we feel sandboxes, it's better to focus around their experience, the story of point A to point B, not what we want to tell them what the story is.
So one thing that I found a little bit interesting was how you sort of handle progression and upgrades and that sort of thing in the game. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
All right, so progression is very much more akin to like Metroid and the Castlevania-like games, where basically you need to explore to find power-up stations. And those power-up stations then give you bonuses to things like weapon tech, armor tech, med tech. And through those give you the abilities to then use other things. So for an example, higher tech weapons or fusion weapons that can heal and do damage at the same time, different things like that. But we want to really enforce that getting out there, dominating the space. But at the same time, we wanted to make it to where you need to explore, because exploration is really key in these kinds of games.
And you want to make it fun and sort of interesting and sort of leave little secrets for later, right?
Yes, absolutely. And we have a lot of little hidden things that will be in there.
One other thing that's also interesting about that is that you're not using the sort of the loot system that you'd expect. Instead, you want to give a little bit more freedom to the players. Is that correct?
That is correct. The way that we did it is we were really influenced by Star Wars Galaxies, and that comes with our crafting system, and that also comes with our loot. So all our loot is component based, and so effectively you craft the weapons that you want to get. And so, for an example, if somebody wants to use a shotgun and they like shotguns, then basically they can keep trying to craft a specific type of shotgun to get better versions, because it's randomly generated stats every time that you do that. So there's a chance, with the way that it's set up now, you can get one that's effectively almost 3 tiers higher than what it was the base schematic for, but that's a very rare roll.
And where are you at in development, and sort of what's going on at the moment?
So basically we're kind of following in the coattails of Minecraft. We really like the way that they did their development. So we're basically open development. People, if they pre-order the game, they get straight in, and we love community. So we're building the game with the community. We reach out. We hang out in our IRC all the time. And that's like one of our platforms, is once we launch the game, that we will be putting patch lists out to the community and letting them vote on what patch they want, and then expanding the game in those directions.
So what's that experience been like? I mean, in some way it's great, because you get sort of a sense of direction. You're not working in a vacuum. On another way, you can get pulled in a lot of different directions as well.
Well, I mean, Paul and I have been in the industry for a little while, and basically we've always kept our goals very specific to what we did when we first did our Kickstarter. But at the same time, you know, we try to adapt to, as the community reaches out to us, tells us what's working and what's not working. I would say that the hardest thing is just you get into situations where you can't please everybody, and then you just kind of have to make the decision of what your core root of the game is. And, you know, sometimes people like it, sometimes people don't, but I think that people appreciate when you keep core to your vision.
I guess that's one of the things with Kickstarter that we haven't really gotten to see that, the fact that you're promising things at a stage where you really haven't built the game yet.
Yes, and I mean, we had an alpha at that point, and we got people early in right when we got on. But yes, we continue to develop and we continue to put it out, and we invite all those people have been coming out to our community, and so we listen to them, and they got to help mold the game, which we've always talked about with the Kickstarter from day one.
And perhaps some of them have come by here today. Have you met any of your?
I think I've only met one Kickstarter so far.
How was that? Was that like interesting to meet face to face with your backer?
I have to say it was really awesome, because after talking to them, Kickstarter people have been very patient with us. We, in the beginning we had kind of a different schedule, but we definitely learned quickly that we had kind of misestimated. But because we've been honest with our Kickstarters from the beginning and we're very open about everything, they've been very cool and very patient about our development.
I think that's something that is important to say as well, because you can't really set out in the beginning and know exactly what time schedule you're going to be on, right?
I think really you can in some specs, but it just depends on where you are in development. We were a little bit earlier, and so things can come up, technology can change, problems can crop. Paul got sick for a whole month, so we lost like a month worth of development at one point in time. So it was just different things. I mean, it's only Paul and me are the core developers, and then we have our core team, which is 2 artists and a musician. Then everybody else, we have some subcontractors that help us get some bits and pieces there. So, if something happens to us or we get put out, then it takes some time.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.